Hey everyone, welcome back to a new r/I do work here lady video. I hope you had a great day and all is well. Please don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel. The first story is called Officer Wants Him to Tow Himself. My dad worked for a towing company which had plenty of contracts with property owners to tow heavy vehicles that are parked illegally. Police officers patrol the properties, spot illegal parkers and call dispatch up, which then calls him to tow. My dad drove a 50-ton quick swap with the company's logo on both sides of the truck. Because of the contracts, he's allowed to park on the owner's properties if he needs to rest. Plus, it provides a good bait for unsuspecting heavy drivers. My dad was in a parking lot, taking a quick nap since he had been driving for a while and it was the middle of the night. He gets a call from dispatch saying there was a private property tow that needed to be picked up. He was given the address, which just so happened to be where he was. He got out of the truck and looked around to see no illegal parker in sight. He informed dispatch of this and ended the call. Before he could get back in, a police officer then approached him. The following conversation ensues. "What do you think you are doing? You can't park here." "Yes, I can." "No, you can't. This is private property. I've just called someone to come pick up your truck." "Yeah, I know you did. I just got off the phone with the dispatch about it. I can't tow myself." "I highly recommend you leave because when the towing company arrives, your truck is going to get impounded. Then they better wake up someone from day shift because I have the biggest truck in the night shift in the entire company. Now you're being smart." "Well, one of us has to be." "What do you mean?" My dad then pointed to a sign that was at the entrance of the parking lot. "Go read out that sign to me." The officer went to the sign and began reading. "Commercial vehicles parked without authorization will be removed and impounded at the owner's expense." Dad then told the officer to read the bottom of the sign. The officer did just that and then looked at the sides of my dad's truck, noticing that the logos match and then realizing the errors he's made. He made the walk of shame back to his car and left, leaving my dad with a funny story to tell me once he got home that morning. The next story is called Report to the Office. I have recently started out as a teacher. I was 27 when I had my first teaching job, and of course, as a newbie, not everyone working at the school knew me at the time. I look a bit younger than my age and I usually wear a pair of jeans and a nice shirt. I was working there for a bit over a month when I was walking through the hallways of the school during class hours, picking up some paperwork and heading to the teacher's room as I had a free period. An older man, I guess in his 40s, stopped me looking kinda angry. "Excuse me, young lady, where do you think you're going? Why aren't you in class?" I'm not actually a student, but I'm a..." "Like heck you are. I've seen you walking around with the older kids. Go to your class, immediately." "Sir, I'm really not a student, but I'm actually a teacher. I'm new here, so you probably haven't seen me, but..." "Stop your lying. Go report to the office, immediately. I will make sure your parents hear about this. I don't think I won't be looking for you in detention tomorrow." So I go to the office as I needed to go there anyway to ask something, and because this guy was way taller than me and looking really angry. My colleagues in the office said, "What happened to you?" "I got sent here because I was outside during class hours. Also, could you call my parents because a man expects me in detention tomorrow?" My colleagues basically died of laughter right there. And because there's usually more than one teacher keeping an eye out during detention, and thus I couldn't tell them who of the two males that were actually scheduled for detention the next day had given me detention, they actually sent me to detention the next day. I took some grading work with me. The unknown man who sent me to detention was looking smug when he saw me sitting in detention. After a few minutes, one of my colleagues from the office came in. The most theatrical voice you can imagine introduced me as a new colleague and said, "Wasn't I a dear for coming into detention while busy grading papers in order to help them out with unruly students just roaming the hallways during class hours?" You should have seen the guy's face. Priceless. For some reason, he never sat at my table during lunch. Thanks for watching so far. What do you think about the video? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll post something random, like a cute penguin emoji. And I hope I don't pester you with it, but every like is important, so please hit that button. The third story is called Not Just a Random Teenage Boy. This happened to me a while ago at a volleyball training school that I work at part-time. My dad co-owns the place with 4 other people, 2 of which are ex-pro volleyball players from Russia. At the school we have different colored shirts for the students based on age range, green, blue, white, and a black shirt for staff. All of these have a giant logo of the school plastered on the front of it. Since I play soccer and have school to focus on, I only work there part-time. When I'm there, I do things like update rosters, take payments, translate for people in Spanish and things of that nature. Now, because I like photography and my pictures are pretty decent, my dad pays me extra to take pictures for their website and to help him with logos and color schemes for the game uniforms. Photoshop stuff, relatively easy. Anyway, I walked in one Thursday afternoon, and after completing some paperwork and finalizing some payments, I went out of the staff room to take pictures of the class in action. We teach from grade levels 8 to 12. Today was a class of 8 and 9 graders. I had my uniform on, but because it was a bit chilly inside, I didn't bother taking my jacket off. I thought that as long as I kept it unzipped and people could see the logo on the shirt, I would be fine. That was a mistake. I set my camera's shutter speed, checked to make sure the flash was off and started snapping pictures. It was at this point that one girl's father came in to pick up his daughter. I should mention that normally the girl's mother picks her up, so he didn't know the staff very well. There was still 5 to 10 minutes left of class, so he made his way over to the rows of chairs lining the walls of the gym. Until he saw me, a punk high schooler, 11th grade at the time, taking pictures of his poor freshman daughter and her classmate that I can use for my own enjoyment in the privacy of my bedroom. He immediately got up from his seat and stormed up to me. He demanded to know what I was doing, taking pictures of his daughter, and threatened to destroy my camera if I didn't give him the SD card that second. I was so shocked at the sudden confrontation that I couldn't think of anything to say. So I simply grabbed the side of my jacket and opened it a little so the logo on my shirt became visible. The look on his face when he saw the staff uniform I had on was one of absolute horror and shame. He mumbled a small apology and walked back to the seating area. Now, every time he walks in, he never speaks to me. Even when the bill for the classes is due to be paid, he either waits until he's sure I'm not around or he gets his wife to do it. He's actually a nice guy, from what my dad tells me. He's just ashamed. The last story is called You Think You Know About It? So this happened about a year and a half ago when I was a bartender at a high-end restaurant. I had been working at this place for over a year and had worked my way up to shift supervisor and bar manager. I was 19 at the time. One day I was set up at the bar drinking with some of our regulars and a few colleagues that had the afternoon off. A man came up to the bar to order. There was only one bartender working as it was after the Sunday lunch rush and it was always quiet by that point. This bartender was new and I had just handed the shift over to him. He was capable of running the shift on his own, but hadn't quite learned the drinks menu. The gent that had just walked in to order started asking about the beers in a really snobbish manner. Such as, what are your Weiss beers? Which lager is the crispest? And do you have any really hoppy lagers? Basically, he was asking questions about any type of beer possible just to be complicated and sound like he knew his stuff. No one really comes in asking those types of questions if they don't have a specific flavor profile in mind. You only typically ask about Weiss beers if you want a wheaty beer. You only ask about crisp beers if you want a refreshing lager. And you only ask about hoppy lagers if you're into IPAs. Anyways, I overheard this and offered my own guidance as the poor new recruit was looking at me like a deer in headlights. I just ran through the menu and suggested the correct drinks for his questions. To which he just exhaled through his nose and outright said, "You are about 16 and shouldn't even be drinking here. What makes you think you know about beers?" I'm a polite person and I'm really not a fan of unnecessary conflict, so I didn't offer any wisecracks or smartness. I just told him, I heard you asking some pretty tough questions and the new recruit started just last week. I thought I'd help out as I'm off shift and it's a good training point for him as I'm his manager. To which he joked about the new starter being old enough to be my dad. I'm not sure what he was trying to gain from throwing weak insults at a stranger. But my mind switched into work mode and I just started listing off drinks on our menu like I was advertising half the breweries in Europe. I asked what flavor profiles he was after, if he wanted a light ale or a heavy lager, high ABV or low. If he was looking to eat, then perhaps one of the wines would be better suited if a heavy beer is preferred as the special was fish. I finished off by saying to the new bartender, can you pop staff discount on for this gent? It would be nice to see him back here when I'm working. I proceeded to give him my till and walk him through the steps to apply it. Lo and behold, this bloke orders a pint of Carling because all the fancy beers were way too expensive. Imagine that, trying to show off to a bartender that you know more than them and then ordering the cheapest beer on tap. I don't miss these types of guests one bit. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. And if you want to see more videos, don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day and stay safe. Bye bye.